All right. Just making sure all my ducks are in a row here. Welcome back, everyone. J Bone here for Smash This Podcast. My goodness, look at the chat's already blowing up. Oh, it's, you know, my little version of blowing up. I have, what, 5, 6, whatever. Wow. Ronnie's in the chat. Jackson Parker, dude. First. Jerry, what's up? The Dub. That's what we're going to start calling you from now on. The Dub. Blood Rain. Yeah. I know I'm seeing a lot of drastic reactions on the social medias today in the news to this. Let me tell you, I'm not flipping out, but I am shocked. And what I'm talking about is what's in the little thumbnail of this video. Now, there's a lot of other little nuggets that we're gonna touch on. We'll talk a little bit about JR. We'll talk a little bit about another girl who I don't think should be completely left out of the discussion today. I just don't know a lot about her, but we will touch on her. We'll talk about Sadie Gibbs. That news came out yesterday. See, when that news came out yesterday from, I believe it was Meltzer, don't quote me on that. A lot of people thought that today's announcement from AEW was going to be about Sadie. So I think people probably went into this video of today's Road to Double or Nothing number 6 or whatever it was with the puppy on it. A beautiful puppy. By the way, my wife wants one of those little stuffed ones that you can get at Pro Wrestling Tees. It's adorable. It's got the little scarf on it, little stuffed pharaoh. Oh my goodness, the chat. Andre's even here. What is up? Oh goodness, Allie is sloppy as okay. Well, there's one opinion. That is one opinion. I do not see a lot about her. Interesting. Very interesting, Andre. Not going to say you're wrong. Just going to say it's very interesting. You obviously are a little more in sync with watching certain things as opposed to other, say, more casual fans. Scarlett Bordeaux is irreplaceable, though. Faustino, what is up? My goodness, the names in here. Nice to see. Just reading a few of these real quick. Yeah, Blood Rain. They and I wanted to do a tiny bit of research on this before I started talking about this as far as Impact fans, and I know I've got a lot of Impact fans here. We've been watching this evolution, pardon the pun, but this evolution of Allie over the course of the last year and a half, between a year to 2 years. Okay, I think that's about as long as she's been with the company, give or take a little bit. And that's about when I started really becoming a fan, was when, this whole switch from TNA to Impact to Global Force back to Impact, this whole crazy growing phase that the company's been going through, the growing pains, out with one bunch of executives, in with another, as well as with roster changes, lots of roster changes, but they've always brought in some new faces to counter some of the bigger exits. They're doing their best. Third like, thank you, Andre. Um, I read, well, number one, before I start reading this, I want to say that I think amidst all the opinions out there, number one, I was shocked. We'll go with that first. I was very surprised to see that Allie was the face to pop up and walk through that door in Brandy's office, or the AEW offices, excuse me, and talk to Brandy. Um, so, being an Impact fan, I was like, oh, what, what is this? Is this, um, number one, you had to do a double take because it was like, we're so used to this dark alley character that we've been seeing on our TVs on Impact Wrestling with the whole Dark War and everything, and Rosemary coming back and all that stuff. I did not realize that she is not, I mean, she's been on TV this first, what you'd say, quarter of the year or whatever you call it. I'm not sure how they, quarter out TV and stuff like that for times throughout the year. It's, we'll say this season. Okay. I did not realize that Allie has not been under contract. I was shocked. We've been hearing about all these re-signings, including signings, re-signings, Jordan Grace. I believe Kiera Hogan's on the list. Rosemary. Guys, gals alike. But this is courtesy of Fightful, because I'm like, I got to find this somewhere as far as her contract. And it says PW Insider reports that Allie's contract with Impact Wrestling expired at the end of 2018. I did not know that. And the company informed her in January that they would not be renewing her deal. However, she recently worked the Impact tapings in Vegas in February, despite knowing she was done with the company. Her last television appearance is set to air on tomorrow's episode. So tomorrow night, that's it. I know a lot of people thought that this would at least go till, I think people were assuming, Rebellion for this whole Dark War thing. No, this Dark War thing is going to be kind of cut short, I think. I give everyone involved credit for as long as they've kept her on. I mean, that's got to say something positive for both sides. This, I have a feeling that this storyline is kind of go to an abrupt halt with this thing with Allie and Rosemary and everything. You feel like we should have seen one final duel between the two or something. I don't know what's all going to happen on tomorrow night's episode. I'm a little worried. I'm not going to lie. Because the first thing I think of when I think of like incomplete storylines on Impact Wrestling, I think of the Hardy Boys exit. And I don't think I'm too far off when I'm thinking about this. When the Hardy Boys exit from Impact Wrestling and everything was really messy, I mean, that was a really kind of a rough time for Impact Wrestling. There was a new regime in, they were trying to fix contracts, and it was just everything, all the dirty laundry and contracts and all that kind of stuff was getting washed out in the public eye, courtesy of, some people's wives who couldn't keep their mouths shut for 2 seconds. that may sound incredibly chauvinistic, but I don't think I'm too far off in saying that. It's like some stuff you don't need to air publicly. Seriously, just keep your mouth shut. Keep business where it belongs, behind closed doors. Not everybody needs to know every damn little thing. Dude, kayfabe is dead. It's like, but I think of that. It's like 1 second we saw the Hardys on TV with their championships. 2 seconds later, poof, the what the hell? Decay. Almost forgot their names for a minute. Decay had the championships, and it was like, what the hell was that? That's what I think of when I'm thinking about this whole Dark War storyline, and all of a sudden is Allie just going to poof disappear? You hope for a proper exit. I understand that there are people out there that have their opinions of her. Obviously, Andre has some pretty strong opinions of her. We read a couple things here. She's a wonderful human being. It was better because I did with Big Ray. Okay. Are you going to be paying for United We Stand? If I can find a job before then, yes. If not, I'm still going to talk about it. What do you want, my receipt? Do you know how much I've watched within the last year and haven't paid for it? Come on, whatever. Seriously. Oh. United We Stand is the Impact Wrestling show that they've got going on WrestleMania weekend in a couple weeks. It's a combo with MLW, similar to last year's Lucha Underground versus Impact Wrestling. They pull in different people from different companies, and they make like a big Wapatui show. Yeah, the plan right now, barring I still feel like halfway decent, is I'm going to be doing my Impact Wrestling review sometime midday on Saturday with Andre Corbeil's going to join me for that. And that'll be a first. He's been on with me before, but it was for like a rest in peace kind of video. So this will be the first like real positive thing that I've had him on for. Excuse me. So yeah. And I know, I understand there are fans out there that are really, and I get it, but I don't. There's different levels of passion, and I guess you could say fandom insanity. And not saying that's wrong. Not saying that's wrong. Just bear with me here. I mean, there is some legit spastic hate, and I mean hate, loathe and hate for AEW out there right now because Allie is going there. That's why I'm trying to bring you guys the whole picture. I'm not saying I'm the whole kit and caboodle, but I didn't want to give one part of it and not the rest. And that's the thing. Allie's not under contract. So what happened there? I don't know. I don't want to try to assume anything. I've really, and I've said this before, and with Allie's exit, I'll probably bring it up one more time on Saturday with Andre, barring everything goes as to planned. Excuse me. Shit. When I started watching Impact Wrestling on a regular basis, a year and a half, 2 years ago, again, Allie was one of the new girls on there with Kiera Hogan, and there was a lot of new people. I believe the Bennetts were on there. I believe Cody and his wife were on there. It was, there was a new crop of people in there. And Allie was one of the ones that I was like, I'm not jumping up and down about it. I kind of felt like she was another, not that this was Impact ripping off WWE's Bailey. I'm not saying that because both companies have done that back and forth. Not even going to get into that discussion. But I felt like that's what Allie was like, just another bouncy Bailey, only a little more mousy in her character. So, she started out like that, and I don't remember who she all faced. She had some great rivalries, including Chelsea Green, who is now in the WWE with a broken wrist. It's very unfortunate. I was very excited for her, actually, and all these things happened with her, and she seemed to slowly but surely, pardon the pun again, evolve out of this, mousy, bouncy bunny character. And she started to get more and more kick ass. And as these matches happened and these rivalries happened, and she got a little, dare I say, darker with every rivalry, I started paying more attention. I felt like her character was more believable, and I started paying attention more to her, more of her in-ring work, how she was working, how she, worked with the others. And I was like, wow, this girl's legit. And I know she's got another big history besides Impact Wrestling. I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to comment much on it. I know she's Cherry Bomb. I know that much. I just haven't watched it. So, and then, this whole thing with Su Yung coming in and everything that's happened over the last, I'd say like half year, 6 months-ish. I've really been on board with Allie and this whole Dark War storyline that we've seen go on since last summer, fallish, whatever it was. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. Had no idea. I mean, if I read it somewhere, I breezed over it and completely missed it. I haven't seen anyone else talking about it as far as Allie's contract situation. Had no clue. But like I said, I give both sides a lot of credit for trying to work through this storyline and keeping her on through it to hopefully bring some kind of conclusion to it. We'll find out tomorrow night. Like I said, I'm a little worried, but I'm not going to overthink it. We'll see what happens on the show. She has her own YouTube channel. Yeah, she's got one that she does with Rosemary. It's still on my to-do list. I haven't watched it yet, but I hear it's very entertaining. Am I going to be talking about G1? Yeah, I might. I hear there's some really cool matches that are supposed to happen at G1. Allie's World, yeah. Be worried if it didn't have a track record of replacing talent. That's the thing. There was a period, a handful of years ago, where they got rid of all, I'd say like 99% of their originals, and Um, and they weren't replacing them. They got rid of guys, and I've talked about this before. Joe, Styles, Daniels, Kazarian, that whole crop of guys, and they just weren't bringing anyone in. They were just cutting, 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 cutting. The whole gut check thing, same time, cut everyone. Failed project horribly, and it was a completely different company then. Wasn't even the same. Different owner, different execs, everything, now, um, now when we've got exits, they're bringing in new faces all the time. Look at all the pardon the pun, young bucks that are coming in. All the X Division guys. Austin, almost said Austin Aries. Oh my God, Ace Austin. All the guys from Ohio, the Rascals. All those guys. Guys are bringing in for house schools. Fulton. I heard Fulton, and I've heard this quietly through news. There was no like huge, massive press release, but I heard Fulton signed. So we're going to be seeing him in shows relatively soon with Callahan and his crew. He's going to have some big muscle, probably. I'm assuming that, but I've assumed that for the last couple months. We'll see what happens. So yeah, looks like Allie's on her way out of Impact Wrestling, and she is the newest and one of the most significant, I have to say, signees of AEW. Now, there is another one that I want to talk about, and that's forgot her name already. Where is it here? Sadie Gibbs. Oh, I was going to botch that name horribly. Sadie Gibbs. Now, the only thing that I've seen about her Sadie Gibbs is a few highlight reels. I have not seen any like all through matches. She does have her own YouTube channel, so I went to go check that out, give it a sub, and I saw some. Oh, let's see. They were highlight reels from, it had to be, I'm guessing, Stardom or something to that effect over in Japan, the all women stuff. And she kind of reminds me of a Dana Brooke, like real athletic. Some of these girls are like just toothpicks. Not saying they can't wrestle, just saying they're toothpicks. Sadie Gibbs looks like she's a lot more athletic, more, more toned, more muscular, dare I say. You gotta be so careful what you say about women nowadays. You calling me fat? No. God, no. Women, we love you. We just can't talk about you. Mr. Fretz, what is up? How you doing? Ryan Satin. Yeah, he's writes and I like some things about Ryan. Some things about him I can't stand. He's a little too Hollywood at times. Jean, what is up? Yeah, Allie. So yeah, The women's, and I just brought up on Fightful because they got a nice little roster that they roster page for AEW that they keep up to date here and there. Um, let's go over the list here. We got for women wrestlers for AEW, we got Brandy Rhodes. She's a little more of an exec, but she's, getting in shape. It'll be interesting to see how much she does in the ring because of that whole shoulder thing that she's got. So I don't know if she's still limited or if she's good to go. We'll see. Don't want to assume anything with her. Britt Baker, Penelope Ford, or as some are calling her in what's that? Penelope? No. Or no, it's Genelope. Joey Janela and what was that? Oh, Booker T called her Penelope. Still laughing about that. That is some funny shit. Kylie Ray, Nyla Rose, Bea Priestley, Sadie Gibbs, Allie, and then the women from Japan, Yoko Sakazaki and Aja Kong. And those two are probably the ones I know the least about. I've just haven't seen any footage. Well, maybe I have seen footage of them, but because I've seen some of the Japanese women's stuff. I just hadn't paid much attention to, I was like, oh, I was watching like Viper or Tony Storm, Bea Priestley, but I didn't know who the other Japanese women wrestlers were. So I could have very well seen footage of it. I just didn't know it. Oh, the Piper shirt? Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Whenever I wear this out in public, someone always stops me and reads it. It's crazy. Great stuff. It's one of the few from WWE that I wear on a regular basis. As you can see, it's starting to fade a little. And Michael Nakazawa. I don't know what is up with the whole Michael Nakazawa thing. I think it's the name. I think it's hilarious. I have no clue. I think he's going to be more of an executive kind of person helping Kenny with Japanese stuff. Because I think Kenny's niche as being an executive VP along with Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, I think he's going to focus on Japanese stuff and international things, which is tremendous. Young Bucks, they can focus on the tag division. Cody can focus on the big picture, whatever. And they each have their own little things that I think that they're going to focus on. That's a guess. That's a complete speculated guess. But to me, that makes sense up here. So it's how the hell do you have 4 execs? Well, there you go. And Kenny can take care of Michael Nakazawa. No, I think it's more of the he's probably going to wrestle, but I think he's going to do the talent relations in a sense internationally. Having people come over from Japan, making sure they're acclimated and okay, that the travel stuff and all that is kind of a go-to guy for international stuff. Maybe. I got a feeling that's kind of what I'm vibing off of that. Didn't know her contract was up. Yo, Allie, yeah, I was shocked too when I read that. I'm glad I read that though, because otherwise I just would be here just speculating why, what's going on. But I think that is huge news. I don't think I talked about Ace Romero. It's been a few weeks since I've done an AEW update because there hasn't been anything really massively significant. Well, the Young Bucks going down to AAA is big. But back to Ace. Excuse me. I've been a fan of Ace Romero for a year now. I think the first place I saw him was on a House of Hardcore show, Tommy Dreamer stuff. And I think he showed up with a giant, I don't know what the show was, but he had a giant, you know how big Ace Romero is. If you don't, look him up. He's a big boy, okay? He's like 400-ish pounds. Round boy, too. My goodness. I thought I was round. He's round as round. His whole front was like a giant yellow smiley face. And I guess he had a similar design on his trunks or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, I love this guy. But yeah, everyone calls him AC Baby. He's incredibly athletic. I mean, for being 400 pounds, you think, there's only so many like super heavyweights that have been around that have been notable for like speed along with their girth. There are not many. Ace is one of them. The guy can move. Holy cow, can he move? When he and that pounce he does, and he pounces people straight out of the ring. Dear God, that's hilariously terrifying. People just flying out of the ring. See ya. Wow. So yeah, very excited for that. Ace is Cornette's favorite wrestler. Why don't I believe you? Oh, that's funny. Anyone looking forward to Scarlett versus Disco? Absolutely. Absolutely. The Pounds. Oh, I miss Monty Brown. Monty Brown was awesome in the early days of TNA. And then they had a cup of coffee in the WWE and called it quits. Wow, the chat. I can't even keep up with this. Oh, I got my Comic-Con tickets for Niagara Falls and bought a photo op ticket with Undertaker. Fingers crossed he shows. Wow. Nice. Nice. You doing the Impact review tomorrow? No, the plan is I'm going to do it with Andre Corbeil like midday-ish on Saturday. That's what the plan is. Like noon, 1-ish. I told him not too early. I got to get some coffee in me. But that's what the plan is. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to do my best. Because usually the first parts of my days are pretty rough. Today is the first day that I'm actually feeling probably the best I've felt in months. I don't know if that's the prednisone finally kicking in or what, but man, I was, it's been a rough several weeks. So we'll see. Kiera Hogan should win the title. If you're talking about the Impact Knockouts title, I'd be for that. She is one talent that I think is really coming to her own. Demon Rocks, can anyone see you? Yes, we can see you. We need Shotzi and Diamante. Diamante, people keep talking about her. They don't bring her in. I don't know why. Shotzi, she's looks like a great, we saw her for a cup of coffee, and that was right before she got injured. Will Cena be at Mania? I don't know. That's another subject for another time. But yeah, Bucks showed up with Cody in AAA a few nights ago, and it was like an impromptu tag team championship match. I didn't even know that the Lucha Brothers were tag team champs down there. I did not know that. But I guess they didn't hold on to them for very long. So is Daga and Low Key official, or Daga has wrestled a few shows. If you guys want a treat, now this is not the match I expected to see, but it was a decent match nonetheless. On Explosion this week, was it this week? This week, Daga versus Trey Miguel. Interesting match. I would love to see more Daga. So underrated. The match that we saw with Trey Miguel on Explosion was not the match I was expecting. He's 10 times better than what we saw him in the ring. I don't know why they had that kind of match. I don't want to try to guess why, but it was still a good match, you know? But yeah, I'd love to see. Low key, I think that's going to be kind of a, hey, let's do this thing WrestleMania weekend and see how that goes. I know Low Key's had comings and goings with TNA / Impact Wrestling over the last, since he was there from day one. You know, literally day one. First match, I think, was Low Key was in it. I seriously question AAA booking. You are not the only one, Critical Sting. There's a lot of people that do at times. But yeah, Young Bucks came in, beat the Lucha Bros, took the AAA championships off of them. Now there was a little promo thing in today's Double or Nothing from the Lucha Brothers to the Young Bucks. I don't remember the content of it. There was obviously the, Zero, but I don't know if it's going to be for the Lucha Brothers to get the belts back, if it's going to be for titles at all. That we don't know yet. That might be a last minute thing. We'll see. So is the Bunny all elite? She is, apparently. Apparently she is. Jeff Jarrett was mega. Yeah, he was for a little bit. Yeah. What about Cornette and Callahan? Put those two in a cage. I'm kidding. that'd be hilarious. Interesting little thing that happened to Cody in AAA. He was beat down from Conan and his boys. That was interesting. It's Taurus, Race Scorpion, I believe is his name. I'm not familiar with some of them really, more than others. And I believe Tejano was those three guys beat down Cody. Conan kicked the king and out from underneath him. It was like, oh, that's just bad. And then Taurus speared him at the end. Taurus speared Cody. So that could be a few guys we see pop up, somewhere along the line. That could be a little preview of guys we see in AEW as far as a crossover, Some of those guys, well, we've seen Taurus on Impact Wrestling. I like him. The few times I've seen him, he's decent. Scorpion, I know he's gone back and forth between CMLL and AAA, I believe is what the story I've heard over the course of the last few years, so I don't know a lot about him. Tejano, though, great talent. I've enjoyed him in Lucha Underground, is probably where I've seen him the most. So there's that. Anything else AEW wise? Oh, Kenny put up a video today, something about teasing going back to DDT where he started. So maybe that's another Japanese connection that they're working on as far as talent or a talent exchange, or maybe it's just Kenny going back to his roots now that he can kind of do what he wants. I mean, he's under the AEW umbrella, if you will, but that's not to say that they couldn't bring him in for something. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, but yeah, would love to see another bunch of, we could see a whole different influx from Japan go to AEW as far as new talent and putting a whole new set of fans' eyes on Japanese talent as opposed to just New Japan / Ring of Honor getting all the attention. I think that'd be great. As far as an international, thing going on. Look at the chat one more time before I think we're just going to get out of here. Famous B. That's a guy that needs to have more attention on him, Famous B. That's actually a guy I wish that Impact would have brought in for, few tapings. Could have managed someone. Such a great talent. Scorpio Sky. That's won the championship. Oh, the Hollywood one? Okay. I watch it once in a while, not a lot. I was watching a little more when they had more of the NWA stuff on there, but I've really gotten away from some of the NWA stuff. Going to do a rally at Mania weekend. I don't think so. Because they've already said weeks ago, everyone's asking, Cody and the Young Bucks, what are you doing Mania weekend? And they're like, no, you know what? We're going to hang back. They got their stuff a month later, or just under 2 months later. Was it late May? Late May, I believe it is. 25th, that Double or Nothing. So they got enough stuff they're working on. I mean, if they do, they do, but I'm not going to predict that they do anything. I think they're going to leave. There's enough stuff going on that weekend. Not that there aren't going to be some AEW guys floating around. Pac's going to be there. Sammy Guevara is going to be there. I'm sure there's a couple others I'm not thinking of. But, several different guys are going to be booked for several different shows. That's just how that weekend is. I think last year Sammy Callahan was booked for about 150 different shows. David Starr, Pipe Bomb, Ring of Honor. Yes, I did hear that. Interesting stuff. Oh, all you got to do is go on David Starr's Twitter, and I think it's up there. Yeah, even Mick Foley shared it. They do NWA title matches at Hollywood. Yeah. What's your thoughts on Phantasma? I want to see more of them. Because I haven't watched a lot of AAA lately, but obviously with the influx of AEW, I am a little more curious now because you never know who's going to show up when, where, as we saw this week. But I would love to see Phantasma, more Phantasma on Impact Wrestling or, just booked abroad. He left AAA? Oh, I was not aware of that. Okay. I did not hear that news. So yeah, Phantasma is a tremendous. I've loved him for the last several seasons of Lucha Underground as King Cuerno. Nobody does that what the heck? What do they call it? The dive, the tope to suicida. He's got his own whatever he calls it. Can't think of what he call it. Yeah, it's a suicide dive. He's got his own name for it. Allie signed to Elite Wrestling. Yes, it's true. If you're coming in late, yes, folks, it is true. She is no arrow from hell. Yeah, I think you might be right on that one, Critical Sting. It's an arrow from something, yeah. Hades. No, I don't know. But yes, to wrap up this discussion, we'll talk about it again for a second. We started out the discussion here about it. It was, oh my goodness, we're over 45 minutes now. So yes, Allie has signed with AEW. And for those that came in late, she is not under contract with Impact anymore. That was the biggest shock because I was like, okay, if she's here, how is she, because I was like, okay, it was either she's working both and there's going to be some kind of working contract similar to AAA, maybe going to be announced soon, or what we found out today. She's just not with them, which was shocking because of this whole storyline stuff. And apparently, Allie's last Impact Wrestling is going to be tomorrow night. So if you're curious as to see what's going to happen with Allie, as I'm sure many of us are, make sure you tune in tomorrow night. And make sure you tune in Saturday. Saturday, I'm going to be doing my Impact Wrestling review with Mr. Andre Corbeil from up north there, hey. I usually try to do it Friday nights, but was talking to Andre recently, and I was like, hey, I'll bring you on for some Impact talk. And he's like, okay, but it's got to be Saturday. He's busy doing some wrestling stuff with a local wrestling company on Friday night, late that night. So Arrow from the Depths of Hell. That's a long title. Prediction for United We Stand match of the night. Oh, wow. I'm going to say it's going to be the Ultimate X. I mean, there's going to be a lot. I mean, that whole show is full of dream matches. Dream matches. I say that with quotes because I don't know if you consider Tessa Blanchard versus Joey Ryan a dream match, but there's going to be, it's going to be fun. Those are the matches you cannot take too seriously. Is there going to be some legit wrestling? Sure. Is there going to be a lot of fun and probably a little bit of nasty stuff with some lollipops and some, if I can quote the great Matt Stryker, is that a hair on that? It's for an adult crowd. Though these kind of shows that go on that weekend, anything outside of the WWE bubble is meant for an adult crowd. I don't think we have to think too hard on that one. A little more extreme, a little more raunchy, a little more adult. But United We Stand is certainly going to be a lot of fun. I think the Ultimate X match is going to be the best. Kota Brazil. Oh God, I can't even remember half the guys that are on the. I'd have to look at it again. I'm not going to look it up, but I know Kota Brazil from MLW is in there. That's one of the extra guys being brought in. And there's one mystery guy we don't know yet. That'll probably they'll probably be announced either tomorrow night during the show or next week. One of the two. Anthony Phillips, love your YouTube channel is awesome. Thank you. Make sure you give the video a like and smash that sub button, sir, if you're not subbed already. The Impact Windsor tapings just sold out both nights. I read that. That's tremendous. Amazing Red for 6-man is my prediction. I'm going to say it's someone like Pac. I'm probably thinking too big. But if they're keeping it a secret, it's got to be a bigger name. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I was also thinking for a while it could be Shane Strickland. That weekend is going to be his last in the Indies because I read a headline just before I went live. Yes, folks, Shane Strickland is signed with WWE. As much as I didn't want that, that's where he went. So as a fan of his, and I want to see big things for him, I hope he has all the success in the world there. Because he deserves it. The guy is... Shane Strickland is tremendous. Yeah, I know. Probably not a very popular opinion. NXT bound. Yep. You got it. Yeah. I wanted to see him do at least a stint in Impact Wrestling, but wasn't in the cards. So, but hey, to each their own. I guess, and that's like I said, if I said this to a buddy of mine I was talking to earlier, if some of these guys have been in the wrestling industry busting their ass, earning their stuff for the last 10 plus years. And if one of their goals growing up as a kid was to go to the WWE and be under those lights, who the hell are we to, yeah, we can all have our opinions and that's fine. But let's try to look at it from their point of view. Let's take the crazy fandom out of it for a second, put yourself in their shoes and just take a second. If they're, if that's their goal and that's what they wanted and they got it, then all we can do is wish them success. Be happy for them for a couple seconds. That's all I'm saying. And I've said that a lot lately because you see so much, oh, they can't go there. They'll shit on them. Okay. We've obviously seen some of that. Look at what they're doing with EC3. It's so effing sad. I will agree with that, It's like, why did you sign him? He's not even on TV. It's so sad. I mean, but EC3, well, he can at least say, hey, I went back to WWE. I was not obviously their cup of tea, but I could say I went back and I tried my best. That's all he could do. That's all he can do. Yeah, you could say that he chose his poison. I mean, he had mild success in NXT, and there was just no reason why he should have been called up. There was no reason, I would have loved to have seen him be, NXT champion for a year, for crying out loud, and build that character and let the casual fan who has not watched any TNA/Impact over the last few years see what he can do. No one's seeing anything from him. Only thing they've seen from him lately is standing in front of a mirror holding a spray bottle. What the fuck? I mean, seriously, it's sad. It's really sad. So, well, we're going to end it on that before I get myself all upset. Yeah. So thank you all for tuning in this Thursday afternoon. Don't know if I'm going to be back later tonight. We'll see. Um, but as far as my Impact stuff, that will be Saturday. Excuse me. Yep. We're going to get out of here because I'm losing my voice. Got to give it a rest. We'll see you guys soon. Peace. Much love.